Hey guys, super excited to see you today. Today I want to show you how I ended up writing a 50-page report on Alaska and why it happened, and also the self-actualization of your goals and using them as a fulfillment mechanism to go out into the marketplace, take what you're doing, and take a vision and make it happen. I think it's so important for a lot of people, and it's tough because at the beginning you're in this place where it's a little bit iffy and you don't know what to do, and maybe you're a blank canvas, and a blank canvas is okay as long as you have a roadmap to fill it. Now, I want to show you guys an example here. This is a commemorative quarters of the 50 states, right? I got this when I was a kid. It's like you open it up and it's got every state and you're supposed to find a quarter for all of them, and there you go, right? So it starts off, there's no quarters in here, right? So it's empty, and what you've got to do is find the quarter from each state, and then once you find the quarter, you put it in the map, and there you go. Now, it sounds dumb and it sounds stupid, but the important thing with it is you're taking a goal and you're visualizing it, in this case physically, but mostly mentally, right? You take a mental visualization of what you want to see. You want to see the map completed with all the coins in it. So what do? You get it in your head, and then you go out and you actually act on it, and you turn it into a reality by actualizing the goal. So with something like this, you look for stuff, right? And subconsciously, you might not pay as much attention to quarters until you start the journey to get to this goal. This goal might seem nominal, but it's a way of fulfillment, and it's a goal-setting technique that will change the way that you perceive value and look at goals. If you guys have seen the video on Think and Grow Rich, that's the same thing, right? Setting goals. So with something like this, your goal can be to fill out all the quarters, and then what you look for are quarters in the marketplace, and then when you find them, that's when you stick them in, and then you just keep doing it. Consistency, over and over. It took me a couple of months to freaking fill out this map, and all I had to do was look for quarters every single time because I can find them, and then you find them, right? And then when you find them, you complete the goal, and you have the sense of fulfillment that you freaking did it. And once you freaking do it, that's when you know that you've achieved your goal. It's when you celebrate, because you took something that was in your head and you brought it into reality. And the way you bring it into reality is by having a plan to do so. With this, it's pretty freaking simple. You find the quarters and you do it. Now with something like this, it's a little different, right? This is a freaking huge, it's 50-page report on Alaska. And my teacher, it was 8th grade, I don't know, man. And went to spring break, right? And we were having this project when we came back. And when we came back, the project was, we're going to have a report on a state, pick your state, and then after you picked your state, you had to write a whole paper on it. So I decided that I was going to write a report about Alaska, which is the best state ever. And because of that, I went out, and it was spring break, we were at the beach, and I was like, what are you supposed to do, man? I gotta write this report on Alaska. And you have this goal in your mind, and you get laser focused on it. And once you can do that, you can create the results that you want in the marketplace by actualizing your goal, right? So you take a iPad and just type. And you write your report, and after you do that, just keep writing. Keep doing it. Same thing with the map. You just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Stay consistent with it, because once you set your mind to it, you gotta finish it. You gotta actualize that mental image. Same thing with this, right? You did pictures. Well, guess what? Every page has a freaking picture just for you, right? And the point with that is that you're taking where you want to be and you're bringing it to the present. And when you bring it to the present mentally, that's the first step to get there, in actuality. And it works with anything, right? This is a paper that has every single fact you could ever want to know about Alaska. It's amazing. I love it. It was such a fun thing to do. It was a fun thing to do because you had the sense of achievement when you got back. When you were the only idiot who did the whole report on spring break, and then, you're done. You just crushed it. And you definitely don't have to do a 50-page report on Alaska, but it's the process and then the achievement of that. And the overachievement is only going to further strengthen the lessons and quality of mind that you're getting from it, so that in the end, you have this better sense of self, you have a better understanding of what you've done, and you value it more because you're able to go, and instead of doing it a normal way or going into some other aspect where maybe you do half of the quarters in your 50 states. If you do half of the quarters and then your other half's empty, well, how's that gonna feel, right? If you go halfway, you finish half a report and then you're done, how's that gonna feel, right? And it's so crazy because a lot of times that happens because people don't write down their goals. People don't mentally take their goals, put them on paper, and then actualize them. And it sucks because for a lot of people, it's difficult to fulfill on things, and you start things and it's tough to finish them. And that's sort of okay sometimes if you have people that you work with that facilitate you finishing things. But on a personal level, you can't just go halfway to, getting fit. You can't just go halfway to bringing in the achievements that you want in your family, in your workouts, in your exercise. Like you can't. You got to go all in. And when you go all in, that's when you facilitate completing goals. And when you complete goals, that's the purpose, right? That's the drive, that's the passion, that's the motivation to go out there and do it so that you have the background and you have the work behind you. This report on Alaska might not be much, but it's proof to me that I deserve, and it's proof to me that I put in the effort and the work and I can do it, right? I know about the Bering Strait land bridge. Let's go. It's in my 50-page report on Alaska. Such a dumb thing to do, but so much time and effort went behind it, and it builds character. It builds self-care belief so that you can go and instead of, trading muscle for energy and time for money and all that stuff, you're able to, put yourself in your own elevated position in the marketplace and using that as fuel to grow yourself in the long term, so that with investments in yourself, with investments in your future, with any other sort of work that you're doing, you can take the goal and say, you know what, I know I can do goals. I know I can do this because I've done it before, I can do it again. That's the kind of belief that maybe very few people will have in you, but if you have it in yourself, it's so immeasurably powerful because it can take you to a whole nother level of success and achievement. And that's really the way to go from an empty board or an empty piece of paper on a Word document into an achievement, into a success. And it all comes with starting and then not stopping till you're done. And you gotta go so hard with it that people looking in from the outside will think you're crazy. People looking in will be like, dude, whoa, you're getting every quarter you can find in the whole wide world. You're going to the bank to get 50 quarters. But that's part of the process that you internalize and believe. And when you can do that, you can grow it, right? So over time, you have more complex projects than writing a paper or collecting quarters. But you can facilitate those because you've developed the background skills of goal setting and progress management and task development and growth and personal growth, and using that as fuel to go and then achieve your goals and then achieve whatever you want to do in the marketplace, so that in the end, you're able to crush it primarily because you've put in the work before and you know you can do it. So when you put in the work now, that work now is worth so much more than it was before because you know you deserve. And you can use it as a stepping stone, right? So you have a ladder of what you've done in the past. You have a ladder of your growth and your consistency. And you can use it, like, for example, when I started writing 9 to Noon, it was like, you're gonna write a freaking book? But I knew in the past, I'd written stuff before. I can, write. And I also knew I cared so much about, finance and personal finance and investing and helping people build real savings and retirements that, previously I would have just maybe not thought about it. Maybe said, I can't write a book. But I taught those classes. I taught those stock classes. I'd show people how to do it. And I'd have results with students. And because of all those backgrounds that gave me the ability and the confidence in myself to do it, that's when I was able to go out and freaking do it. Because you have to have, it's tough. A lot of people are like, there's this big goal I want to do, and I want to write a book maybe. I know I've heard that a lot. And then I say, well, why don't you just write a book? And people don't do it. And, I don't blame them. It's freaking really tough to write a book. But the work behind it is so fulfilling and self-actualizing that, everything in the future is just going to be a step off that. And you're looking at momentum and growth and consistency and using that to your advantage so that you can go to the next level in your life by rebounding off your goals and using them to set new goals and bringing those new goals into the marketplace with actualization techniques and just consistency. The only secret, or the only difference between the person who wrote the 50-page paper on Alaska and the person who wrote the 2-page paper on Alaska, the 5-page paper on Alaska, 5 versus 50, you just do it. And you put in the work, 10 times more valuable, maybe. It's about Alaska, the greatest state ever. That's something that you're not going to get unless you put in the work. And once you put in the work, it's worth so much more in the long term. Hope you guys got value out of this. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good one.